What was your father's name? I'm sure I have no business with him. Let us dispel these nasty allegations so that we may return to the construction of your bed.
My father's name was Creambrush.
Creambrush.
Well, Justice, did you send out such a warrant?
I may have sent out such a warrant.
And what crimes have been alleged against my father?
Elisa Gonzalez sits here, looking forward to life after Yale. She will continue to write, even if she makes more spreadsheets than poems for a while.
Hard to follow such a series of dramatic readings, but poems require less context, so I'll just go for it. Duties. That time she told me to put the lobster in the pot because she couldn't stand to kill it herself, my face composed so as not to reflect my sins. And the water boiled imperiously, waiting for the lobster, which was brown and green, surprisingly so, but not grotesque, not something that shouldn't be eaten. So I understood why it needed to be placed in the deep gleaming pot, still tied up with strings around the claws, as it was in the shop, so that it would remain whole and unmarred throughout the process of heating, the water and the lobster together. The more the lobster boils, the less it seems plausible that the pot could encompass everything that needs to fit inside. Even though it is just water and lobster, nothing more necessary to ensure that the whole thing turned out properly. It's as if we didn't know what was under the lid, as if we threw in cardamom and sea salt, balsamic vinegar tainted with oils, raw sugar. But we couldn't have. There are directions to the making. Love your mother as yourself, harm no one. Pay no attention to the faces made in the mirrored wall of the pot, the mouth rounded to practice the look of screaming, then smoothed. This next poem is called Easter. On Chestnut Ridge, the farmhouse burned, 1909. The ghosts scratched through the smoke, blue apparitions of laborers burning off the brush of meadows. Easter morning, it's a good climb for sunrise. East, the direction of hope. Yet I am disappearing. Foundation stones settle against the ridgeline, the plot of the old farmhouse. Here is where the cellar was, here was the door. Here lie down under the arbor for wild grapes. The grapes taste familiar, and now in your stomach like decay. I'm going to read one more. This poem is called Smoke. After raking, the children are kept away from the leaves, which must be burned neatly, bagged, placed at the curb. On the burning days, the leaves, heaped in a circle, make circles of ashes. Ashes drift onto the faces in the street, the neighbors, passing by, walking their terriers. Smoke is on the air these days. We all smell it. The wood burning itself off, bark peeling in long, curling strokes like the skin of apples, white birch bark blackened on the tips, scorched in the ends of the fire before the ashes sipped themselves out. Like fallen leaves, always such a potent indicator of things that have already come to us. This is why I do not believe in apocalypse. Understanding does not invariably mean impending destruction, though often it does, as I remember it, and so the distinction is fine and crucial. We all see the passing of these leaves as violence because the wind takes leaves into the air and then to the ground, where they turn wet and downtrodden, slimy, black, when even the children do not want them. It is tempting to see this as desolate and sickening. It is sickening, our losses. On these days, the consequences are clear, inevitable even, with the sky lapped by smoke and the branches of trees emptying with great calm. Of all the things I wanted, this one was not summoned. I don't care. I am not angry about any of it. I just want to get on with the whole thing. Why does it have to take so long and be so human in its rituals when it should just flame out, go? Thank you.
Next up is Atura. Atura is grateful to her friends, family, and teachers, especially the people upon whom she prayed for consideration. Grateful and sorry. She'll be pursuing a PhD in literature at Stanford in the fall.
I think all you need to know for this is that the narrator is living with her older sister, and her older sister's Ruth, and Ruth's husband is Wallace. I'm sleeping on the blow-up mattress that swallows up most of the living room. When I open my eyes, I'm facing Wallace's calves. I can smell them. He's been doused with some kind of man body wash, a dizzy cologne smell, but the soggy sour of his flat feet persists. I roll over in alarm. Seeing no demonstration of contrition or flappable decency on Wallace's part, I try tossing and turning for dramatic effect, but it's no use. He is hell-bent on watching some soccer. The World Cup. There's been soccer at all hours these past few days, jerseys in the streets, good hearty brawls that provide fodder for hours of gleeful tittering. And here sits Wallace, the bear in his den, 15 stories above the bars, his woman out on errands and his sister-in-law at his feet, watching some soccer with a glass of orange juice. I rouse myself from the mattress. Beneath the hinge that joins my legs with my torso, the hinge that causes me to reflect morosely on Barbie, the mattress begins to fold in on me like a big lounge chair. I flounder around and think of Wallace's stolid gaze. He has the air of an impatient lord inquiring after his victuals, but there's nothing I can think to bring him. I wrestle myself to the far end of the mattress, tossing aside the thin white sheet like a rag. I'm trying not to place myself in Wallace's line of sight. He says nothing to me. Instead, he ejaculates grunts from time to time over the drone of sports commentary. I'm flat against the side of the room now. Wallace is in profile. He has a taut profile, pulled like a blanket over conspiring kids in the night. His skin even seems a little backlit, probably because it's naturally moist. He has the little bend in his nose I always wanted, the little bend that says dignity. He watches things very squarely, the corners of his mouth precise, his eyes wet. He cried at his wedding, I remember. I had to point it out to Mom because his expression didn't change. He always looks like he's itchy and about to cry. I start pecking through my suitcase. I'm still living out of the suitcase. They had no room for me in the closets, and the linen shelves are crammed with Wallace's African masks. I look up. He still makes no effort to acknowledge me. Perhaps this is his method of averting his eyes from my unmentionables. Perhaps it's his method of voyeurism. It's hard for me to tell and dangerous for me to presume. He has these notions about me that I'm a floozy. It's a strange accusation to constantly dodge, given that even my protestations are taken as evidence of my guilt. Of course, Ruth and Wallace say, of course I take pains not to allow them to witness any untoward behavior. It's like I'm being accused of being a leprechaun when nobody's watching. I dive back into the suitcase, the file cabinets of my mind slamming open and shut upon contact with each swatch of fabric. I'm like a shadow puppet flitting around against this wall in Wallace's peripheral vision. My flatness is rife with depth. The question is whether he's projected or I am. I leave the wall and dart across the inviolable laser beam of Wallace's attention, a blip on a radar screen or a sudden spike in an EKG. I pull the white door of the bathroom shut behind me. In the end, he'll be desperate to blame someone. He has a blame snowball and it's growing all the time. I watch it rolling in front of his little prancing steps. I'm facing the mirror now. He can't stay this way forever. It's stable and it's swashbucklingly grandiose, not with a jaw set like that. I found out my own jaw. It's grown wider in the past year. I hope it stops that. The bathroom is moist from someone else's shower. A little window perches above the toilet, and I can see the construction far below, the workers moving like stout pixels in a video game. I stick my nose out the window and feel revived. The smog is a gust of alpine air. The bathroom is my sanitarium. Ruth's apartment is enough to make a hysteric of John Wayne. These would be my last few days with Ruth and Wallace in the apartment. They're going on vacation to Tahiti and leaving me to house it for a week. This liberated week is the light at the end of a month-long tunnel during which I've been taking classes at Columbia. Intensive introductory Italian taught to a bunch of rich enough kids, diddling away their summers in New York. The kids are basically nice, gesturing animatedly towards education while backing quietly away from the prospect of useful labor. The teacher encourages us to gesture when we speak in order to simulate actual speech. We are to indicate pronouns by the direction of our palms.